Okay, so I had the opportunity coming back today from my first visit to Disney Springs, which is the reimagined version of downtown Disney Orlando, to pull my photos from Flickr from 2008 and to do some comparisons. So the first thing I should say is I was able to find online a map here of the old downtown Disney, and it's also, you know, front and back fold here. You can see that one of the things I think that was stressed there was the branding, and you're going to see the branding is certainly still there, very present. But if you look at the original map here, the map at least from 2012, before this change happened, they're really highlighting all the branded iconic structures. You know, in that sense, not unlike a Vegas, right? Like, do you dream of dining with dinosaurs, fancy blues with your brunch, or just Lego your inhibitions, referencing the Lego store? So, you know, that was kind of the highlight there, I guess, the focus in 2012. Welcome to Utopia, a magical place that revolves around you and your family. So, you know, kind of generic, or at least highly branded. Now, if we zoom out here a little bit, I can show you comparatively. So this is the actually the new map that I received. And as I mentioned in my overview when I was at the site, you know, I was looking on the map, I was looking all over when I visited, trying to find, you know, some focus on the story, some detailing of the springs and so forth. And I had heard that this was going to be the big focus, and I really couldn't locate that anywhere. But here then are the two maps compared. Now, so what you can see here on this camera is, you know, the west side in the past was called the west side, and you have, you know, this similar points of reference, right, where the fountains are. Nothing has really changed. I think the docks are almost identical if you look at these. I'm trying to see if one of these bridges maybe was added. It looks like this bridge, yeah, it looks like that one then was added, because that is the amphitheater, which was still there which was there back in 2008, my last visit. They added then this bridge connecting here, probably for traffic. And I have to say, during that visit, it was really, really crowded, so it's not surprising. Again, the amphitheater stays the same. The names of the places have changed only slightly. Again, the overall shift is from Downtown Disney and Pleasure Island. And Pleasure Island then used to be basically this new area, which is the landing deck. Used to be Pleasure Island, and that was where all the clubs were. And if you've read the Orlando papers about what happened, a lot of people said, you know, Disney couldn't control it enough. There was alcohol, there was dancing, maybe, you know, who knows, did drugs get in? You never know what happens right when young people party. But that decline, I think, was felt, and during my last visit, it was just near the tail end of when they did finally close. So at least, you know, Pleasure Island, Downtown Disney stayed open. So rebranded, rethemed then as Disney Springs, but as I mentioned here, the West Side dock becomes West Side, Pleasure Island becomes the landing dock, Marketplace becomes Marketplace dock. If you look at, I know they built at least one new parking structure, the orange parking structure, I believe it was called, but a lot of the other features have stayed the same. You still get the pineapple there with the, I think that was the Bongo's restaurant, the Cuban restaurant on the west side. You're going to notice that the architecture, I think, is where the most dramatic changes have come, as well as the new name. Now, I should say that during my visit, you'll see the photos, a lot of construction was still going on, so it's probably clear that they might be bringing more of the theming in and the backstory in, as far as my criticism of that goes. We can compare the old and the new. So not much has changed here in terms of Planet Hollywood, but I did read that Planet Hollywood was getting some sort of a redesign, and I don't know if that is still in the works or not, because it looks very, very similar to me. Can look at, if I have a few more images of that, of the Planet Hollywood in particular. Okay, I don't have any more Planet Hollywood. But one of the things, this is going back to in the past, which was Marketplace. I think more garish branding and more of that Vegas style iconic architecture where you have giant versions of brands or toys, you know, the Tinker Toy, the Lego. The Lego store is still there to this day. The McDonald's I no longer saw. And curiously enough, here is the bridge walking into Pleasure Island, and then we can look at some of the clubs here. And I apologize that these are unsorted. You're getting just, you know, a perspective of what things used to look like, the old signage. That's kind of funny, right, from the past. I mean, founded in 1911. All the codes of conduct, which was always a big thing as far as, you know, trying to control people, because whenever you have partying and drinking, things can obviously get out of hand. I never thought, you know, Pleasure Island was that, like the Club Motion. And during my conference with the Theme Entertainment Association, we had our conference was actually at Pleasure Island. We used one of the venues, I believe it was Motion, where we actually met. Wanted to see if I could find an image of mannequins. Trying to see if that is it. I thought I might have had an image of mannequins on here. Mannequins is now, as many of the buildings in the former center of the district, they've of course been rebranded, and Mannequins, the club, which I think was fairly popular with young people, excuse me, was rebranded. It's changed, and now it is a Morimoto restaurant, an Asian restaurant. So a lot of change certainly happened. Now this is an image, again, from my last visit in 2008. So we're actually looking at the West Side Dock. And this is, I think, a fairly significant change. And let me just pull up then on the left side an image of that. And as you can see here, again, a lot of construction still going on in front of Planet Hollywood. We're walking in. Basically, we are coming in right here. And we're going to be coming in to the West Side Dock area. And again, you see another shot of Planet Hollywood. So this is the new West Side Dock area. So there is a Starbucks there now. I think that's the area where there used to be the Winchell's Pretzels, I think. Or it could be just right before that. It's hard to tell because I don't have clarity on exactly where I was when I took that particular photo. So you see a lot of new, I guess, classier approach to architecture, you could say. Still the branding, right? I mean, you have the new Splitsville, which is a big concept bowling alley restaurant that looked very popular. Still have the Disney Quest way at the end, next to the Cirque du Soleil show, way at the end of the West Side Dock. So that hasn't changed. I mean, I think the big iconic structures, it's pretty hard to alter them because that would involve in a lot of money in terms of doing that redevelopment. And again, there's the iconic pineapple of the one restaurant, and we're seeing a bit of the waterway. And you can see a lot of this was still under construction, and the conceptual pictures I thought were interesting, and these suggest that it looks to me like in the future they're going to have much more, and maybe that will reveal more of that theming that I was pretty desirous of. The Irish pub, they moved around, changed the location. I think in the past it was outside of Pleasure Island. Now they moved it inside the new Pleasure Island, or as they call it, the landing dock area. Now this here I thought was pretty cool. You just see some of the little touches, which Disney is so good at those touches. So this looked like one of these historic photographs of workers in a factory here. Really nice approach to design, the lighting. It's as only Disney can do, right? I mean, Disney has the highest quality in terms of doing architecture, design, etc., interior, exterior. This is a light feature I thought was kind of interesting. And you see a lot of this is basically brand new in terms of what they've created. Now, things that haven't changed, the Lego store, I think the facade's different. I think that dragon was there the last time I visited. That's the same. The World of Disney is still there. The amphitheater, I think, is a little different. It looks like this has also changed with the new style. Ghirardelli store. There was one interesting, I need to maybe do a video on this 28 at Main. Very high-end concept mall inside, and there was a store that seemed to focus on the biographical aspects of Walt Disney. And these were quite curious. These were photos of classic Disney rides that were made to appear to be older, and they were very high priced, upwards of $95 to $125 a pop. So, but pretty cool. I thought that sense. And here's that image of Walt there inside the mall itself, and again some of the high-end goods that you can purchase. So we're looking again the other side of the amphitheater. On the left would be the World of Disney store, and then that appears to be that new bridge that created. So that is brand new, which is linking basically this part of the center, the mall area with this. Again, it was very busy when I visited, so this is probably a smart pedestrian choice in terms of making that a little easier for people to access on busy days. This is one sign of the Springs mineral water. I'm assuming that's referring to Disney Springs. And again, I wanted a little more of that present during my visit, and maybe it's coming. Now this hangar bar is kind of curious actually, and if I have images of the Adventurers Club, and before I leave that, again, what I was trying to suggest here on the west side is that they cleaned this up a lot, and they also made it very, if I showed you photos, I would say almost very much, kind of retro, futuristic, if I have any images of that. I guess at the beginning I had some. Okay, so better yet, you can see then, this video is unedited, kind of shaky, but you can see the change here on the left, and then you can compare that to the old version at Downtown Disney, which, is more, I guess this was more, I would say, a little bit of that Universal City Walk, not the Universal City Walk in Florida, but in Los Angeles, in terms of the signage and the more colorful and iconic architectural facades compared to what it is today, as you can see in the video. So that certainly was a bit of a change. I wanted to mention one other aspect that was interesting to note, and one other thing that was interesting to note, if you remember the old Adventurers Club at Pleasure Island, a lot of people were upset with the fact that it went away when Pleasure Island went away, and actually we can look at, here we go, just from my Flickr set. This was back years ago when I took these, about 210 photos actually, so a lot. But this was really a cool club. A lot of people were just incredibly impressed with how they designed this in terms of the decor. And then at night, I don't know if I have any of those photos, but there was a really raucous show that took place at night. So, and most of these are photos from the daytime. But in its place, or maybe not really, it's in its place, but a version of it is this club, this hangar bar, which is inspired by Indiana Jones. And so the concept is that the pilot of Indiana Jones is, this is his place basically. And you see some of the decor inside, much smaller, a little bit different. Actually reminded me somewhat of some of the theming that I saw, different context, but similar in terms of the approach of Expedition Everest, which has the really incredible theme queue line. Again, you see all the accoutrements here. In terms of the clutter and the vintage stuff, the newspapers, it did remind me somewhat of the Adventurers Club, and on the outside you could see here the iconic postcards and so forth, and engines and boats. And even the sign here even says cast members only, so they're certainly keeping that focus on the cast member even within the restaurants. So I wanted to highlight some of those aspects of Disney Springs, again, to talk about it, to discuss with you some of the changes that took place. My expectation, I guess I would say, was that the theming was going to be more intense or more integrated, has all of the classy elements that we come to expect with any Disney Imagineered project, but lacking, I felt, some of the backstory and maybe some of the details. And I would want to say also that when we compare what's happening in other malls, and we can look certainly at, as an example here, Victoria Gardens in Southern California, which I think is a quite interesting theme mall just in terms of how they've approached some of the architecture and the really vintage signs that make up such a large component of that particular mall. When we make that comparison, I might suggest that other malls out there, I think, have maybe overtaken Disney in terms of some of the approaches to the design. At the same time, let's give this time. Let's give it an opportunity for them to finish. As I showed you, a lot of this was under construction, so I think it's probably too soon to be highly critical. Let's look at the finished project as it continues to evolve over the years. So I hope you enjoyed looking at some of these aspects of the new Disney Springs in Orlando, Florida. Okay, so we are back today in 2017, looking at a Creative Commons image here of the newly refurbished Disney Springs. Kind of embarrassed because throughout this video I'm talking about the lack of theming and backstory, and from what I've seen online, this has been accomplished. It just took a couple years to, as you might guess, complete the project. This is a pretty amazing image, another Creative Commons ones here. Panoramic. I'm always blown away when someone shoots something like this on an iPhone. Makes you think about the quality of cell phone cameras, but you can see the theming here, how extensive it is. So my plan is when I attend the next IAPA conference in November of 2017, I will give you part 2 of this video to show you what's happened since I was last there. So it's a little bit hard to make this video. It was a little hard to make it because of the fact that the images I had were so dated. Looking back at the images from 2008 of Pleasure Island, I just have to say, in reviewing these again and making this video, there's a certain nostalgia I think I have for this space. It's no longer there, of course. It wasn't successful or didn't last as long as maybe some people wanted. The next images you're going to see, and they'll be very quick, 3 quick videos from Mannequins, the club, and then also Motion. I actually had to dig those up, call my hard drives, and I found them in a really old format and had to convert them and everything. So I was blown away that I actually still had those videos. I recorded back in 2008 for the TIA conference, which is the Themed Entertainment Association. I think part of it was the nostalgia I have for Pleasure Island, and the old Downtown Disney, I think, is related to the fact that the conference was there, so I had some time to really immerse myself in the spaces. And it reminded me being back at Astroworld. So often I was in a themed venue, a theme park, and I was conducting training classes. So there's something about being back in a theme park for a more professional purpose, a work purpose, that I think made it very special for me. The other thing I wanted to say, if you noticed in this video I've created today, I actually did that when I was at the IAPA conference in 2015 in Orlando in my hotel, and I was trying to use a bunch of cameras. So I'm missing one of the videos, which was the camera that showed you the screen images. So what I tried to do today was to add as many of those images in as I could. We're still looking here at images from 2008 from the old Downtown Disney, and now we're shifting back or forward in time to 2015. So this was when the construction was still going on. If you go to any of the websites now, or certainly visit on your own, you'll see that a lot of this has changed. One of the most dramatic changes is what they've done to the Planet Hollywood, turning into the Planet Hollywood Observatory, keeping more with the theming. I really like that. And I'm excited to see that when I get a chance to go and do part 2 of this video. So I think one of the things that we learn in looking at these images and seeing the space change over time, one is that Disney is an absolute master of theming, of design, of creating the story, of backspace for this fictional Disney Springs, which fascinates me to such a great degree. Secondly is that you need a lot of capital to pull this off, and Disney is very, able to do this. A lot of other corporations couldn't handle this kind of capital investment to create such a massive undertaking. And then lastly is that need to update. You always have to update, and I think we learn that with any space. People grow tired of some of the spaces that they love for so long. And even with nostalgia creeping in, I think it's an opportunity, or really a requirement, in this case for Disney, to do something to update it for a more contemporary period. So I hope you enjoyed looking at some of these issues today here at Disney Springs. And please come back for additional video features of the Immersive Worlds Handbook.